Mr. Gandy? The court finds probable cause in your first case for grand theft, third degree of a motor vehicle. Bond stays set at $1,500. You are ordered to have no contact with the victim and do not return to the scene where this incident occurred. In your second case for burglary of a dwelling, the court finds probable cause and bond stays set at $5,000. Count 2, principal to a burglary, bond stays set at $250. You're ordered to have no contact with the victims and not to return to the location where this incident occurred. You are ordered to not possess any firearms or weapons and surrender any firearms or weapons to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release.
Your Honor, with regard to the burglary, can he also have no contact with any of the co-defendants?
Yes, the court is ordering no contact with any of the co-defendants as to the burglary charge. Tiffany Gray? Mr. Gray? I don't have any PC paperwork on Tiffany Gray. State, would you like for me to give you 24 hours to provide that?
Yes, please, Your Honor.
You said for 24 hours. Jamal Hubert. Mr. Hubert, the court finds probable cause for burglary of a conveyance. Bond stays at $3,500. And for criminal mischief, count 2, bond is set at $100. You're ordered to have no contact with the victims and not return to the location where this incident occurred. You're ordered to possess no firearms and no weapons and surrender any firearms or weapons to law enforcement within 24 hours of release. Mallory Kinchin.
Ma'am?
Mr. Kinchin, the court finds probable cause for trafficking in less than 200 grams of 3,4-methylene methamphetamine MDMA. Bond stays set at $50,000.
Did I get a bond reduction, ma'am? Because that wasn't my car.
Stop talking.
So, Mr. Kinchin, let me just inform you of some things. Sir, according to the paperwork I have, you actually qualify for pretrial release, but I'm very reluctant to place you on pretrial release.
Yes, Your Honor, it's been updated. He doesn't qualify.
Okay. All right, so, sir, unfortunately, you don't qualify, and I didn't think you should have qualified when I read it. But at the same time, I think the $50,000 bond is fair, and it's what I'm going to leave in this case. I will advise you to have any further communication with the lawyers who've been appointed to represent you from the Public Defender's Office before talking about the case. Omari Landry.
He refused, Your Honor.
You want to waive his presence, or?
Yes, Your Honor.
The court finds probable cause for count 1, burglary of assault or with a battery. Bond stays at no bond. Burglary with an assault or battery. And count 2, resisting an officer without violence. Bond stays at $500. The defendant is ordered to have no contact with the victims and not return to the location of this incident, possess no weapons, no firearms, and surrender any weapons or firearms to law enforcement within 24 hours of release. Jamarcus Lane. Mr. Lane. Good afternoon. Sir, the court finds probable cause in your case for sale or delivery of fentanyl. Bond stays at $15,000. And unlawful use of a two-way communication device. Bond stays at $150. The court is revoking your out-on-bond case, bonds on all of your out-on-bond cases. Bond is revoked, and bond is set at no bond on all cases, all counts.
So, would I have to get like a PD or something?
I did appoint the public defender to represent you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, too. Joshua Ali Bautista. The court does find probable cause for conspiracy to commit a first-degree murder, and bond stays set at no bond. Count 2, attempted first-degree murder with a firearm. Bond stays set at no bond. Count 3, aggravated battery with a firearm. Bond stays set at $10,000. And count 4, aggravated battery with a firearm. Bond stays set at $10,000. The court takes no action on the out-on-bond case. The court is ordering that you have no contact with the victims, no contact with the victims, no contact with the members of the victim's family, not return to the location where this incident occurred, and possess no weapons and no firearms, and surrender any weapons or firearms to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release. State, are there any other conditions that you wish for the court to impose in this case?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Charles Little. Mr. Little, the court finds probable cause for possession of methamphetamine, for which bond shall remain set at $500. Donnie Matthews. Sir, the court finds probable cause for possession of cocaine, count 1, bond stays at 1,000. Count 2, possession of paraphernalia, bond is set at 100. The court is further ordering, no further order, sorry. Thank you, Mr. Matthew. Vijay Kumar Prasad. The court finds probable cause for possession of a firearm in the commission of a felony. Bond stays at $5,000 for count 1. Count 2, carrying a concealed firearm, bond stays at $150. Count 3, grand theft of a motor vehicle, and bond stays at $150. The court is ordering that you possess no weapons and no firearms as a condition of release, and that you surrender any weapons or firearms to law enforcement, that you have no contact with the victims in this case. Thank you. Anisha Price. Refusal. Would you like to waive their presence in this case, Ms. Price's presence?
I will waive, Your Honor,
You will waive?
in ROI. Is okay?
Can I do that on a felony?
Do you want me to roll it to tomorrow or waive?
Just waive it.
I'll waive
I don't know
it.
that we can do that
All
on a
right,
felony.
the court finds probable cause for prostitution. Bond stays set at, $1,000. Joseph Anthony Rodriguez. As to this case, Mr. Rodriguez, the court finds probable cause for grand theft of a motor vehicle, and bond stays set at $2,000. You're ordered to have no contact with the victims, not to return to the location where this incident occurred. Delta Henry Rushing. The court finds probable cause for being a sex offender and failing to providing false registration information. Bond is set at $5,000. And count 2, failing to report a driver's license name change. Bond is set at $500. As to 2021 CF 6175AO for failure to appear, bond stays at $5,000 on count 1 and $500 on count 2. As to 2021 CF 4823AO, bond stays at $5,000 for failure to appear. State, were there any other conditions that you wish the court to impose on the new law?
No, Your Honor, I believe the defense usually lets them know about reporting requirements.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, I'll go ahead and order it. Defendant, you are required to report upon release.
Yes, Your Honor. I
Okay.
said thank you.
Ronald, then Rosario. Mr. Rosario, the court finds probable cause for selling delivery of fentanyl. Bond stays at $15,000, and count 2, possession of cocaine with intent to sell or deliver. Bond stays at $150.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you if you could load the bond for the fentanyl because I was just with
Stop.
my friend. Don't have no
talking.
fentanyl on me. You can read the report.
Stop talking.
All right. I did appoint, this young lady is the public defender, and she doesn't want you to say anything that might incriminate you. So I did appoint her to represent you, and the public defender can file a bond motion on your behalf, sir, if you are not able to post the bond that is ordered. Melvin Thompson, thank you, sir. Mr. Thompson, the court finds probable cause for count 1, carrying a concealed firearm. Bond stays at $2,500. Count 2, criminal mischief. Bond is set to $100. And count 3, contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Bond is set to 100. The court is ordering you to possess no firearms or weapons and surrender any in your possession to law enforcement as a condition of release. The court is ordering you to not return to the location where this incident occurred, and the court is ordering you to have no contact with the minor involved in this incident.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Christopher Vincent?
Your Honor, any action on his out on bond?
Oh, I didn't have an out on bond for this gentleman.
No?
What are the charges on the out on bond?
It's possession of, looks like cannabis and possession of drug paraphernalia, Your Honor.
No, I won't, if that's the charge, I won't take any action on that.
It's 22 CF 7037 AO.
No
Oh,
action.
Your Honor, I would just ask that you appoint us. He doesn't have an attorney on that case.
On the case you just gave, the case number 4?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, I'll appoint the public defender. Yes, Christopher Vincent. Vincent. The court does find probable cause for aggravated assault with a firearm. Bond is set at $3,500. The court is ordering no contact with the victim, no return to the location where this incident occurred, possess no weapons, possess no firearms, and surrender any weapons or firearms to law enforcement within 24 hours of release. Anthony Williams, thank you, sir. Mr. Williams, the court finds probable cause for sexual battery. Bond is stays set at no bond. Kidnapping, bond stays set at no bond. False imprisonment, bond stays set at 150. Battery, bond stays at 500. You're ordered to have no contact with the victim or the witnesses in this case. And possess no weapons, no firearms, and surrender any weapons or firearms to law enforcement within 24 hours of release. State, I don't know that there's a no need for a no
I
return.
think this was at his home, Your Honor.
That's fine. All right, thank you. Any other matters, Madam Clerk?
That will be it.
Court will stand in recess. I don't need that.
Good morning, Your Honor. This is Laura Royo, State Certified Interpreter and previously sworn.
Good morning, Laura. This is Judge Allen. Would the counsel for state and defense announce your presences for the record?
Brenda Eugene, on behalf of the State Attorney's Office.
Letitia George on behalf of the Office of the Public Defender.
All right, thank you. The first two you said? So, Laura, we have Natalia Sanabria, case number 2022 CF 9383AO, and Melvin Mojica Torres, case number 2020 CF 5131BO. Those are the two Spanish cases that I've been informed of. All right, and let me know when you're ready.
Action is established, Your Honor.
All right, ma'am, what's your name?
Natalia Sanabria.
Natalia Sanabria.
Ms. Sanabria, the court finds probable cause for count 1, aggravated battery, domestic violence. Bond is set at $3,500. Oh, I'm sorry, there's a witness. We're going to hear from the witness before I set the bond. And I do find probable cause also on count 2, battery, domestic violence. And at this time, let's swear in the witness.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Ma'am, I don't hear you well.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I swear.
Please state your name for the record. What's your name?
Marcello Felaco.
Sir, do you speak English?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me what your last name is again?
Felaco. Felaco.
Okay, Velasco. Very good. All right, the state and/or defense may have questions of you. Please answer the questions into the microphone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, ma'am.
How do you know the defendant?
She's my girlfriend.
Do you live together?
Yes.
While this case is pending, do you want to have contact with her? You need to answer out loud, sir.
Sorry. I can't.
You have some concerns, sir? Are you afraid of her?
I'm afraid.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. Do you live in Florida?
Yes, ma'am, in Pompano Beach.
You both live in Florida,
Sí. Yes.
but you don't live in Orlando.
No.
Okay. So you were only here in Orlando on vacation.
But our first vacation.
I apologize, I didn't understand.
First vacation.
Okay, all right. And you
Sorry, the interpreter could not understand that either.
So let's go ahead and have him repeat that response into the microphone.
The first vacation. Our first vacation.
And so you reside together in Pompano Beach,
Yes.
and when you go home, do you want her to have contact with you?
No anymore.
I have no further questions at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ms. George, does the public defender have any questions?
No questions, Your Honor.
All right, ma'am, I am setting a bond of $3,500 on count one and a bond of $500 on count two. I'm ordering you to have no contact whatsoever with the defendant and to not return to the defendant's home.
Victim.
Thank you. The victim, no return to the victim's home. I will allow you a one-time visit in the presence of law enforcement to recover personal items. I am ordering you to possess no weapons and no firearms and surrender any weapons or firearms to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release. You must maintain a separate residence from the victim. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it.
All right.
Yeah.
And the public defender is appointed in this case. Madam Public Defender, I'm appointing you in all cases unless otherwise noted.
Thank you, Your Honor.
How much?
You're excused, sir. You can go now.
Your Honor, I believe he's going to be posting the bond, so he just wanted to make sure how much the bond amount is.
Oh,
I appreciate, ma'am, because I want to pay the bond.
the count one is 3,500, count two is 500.
So the total is 3,000,
4,000.
4,000, sir.
$4,000. And I can pay downstairs. How work? I don't know.
The jail staff will give you some information about posting a bond.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so
you.
much.
Melvin, sorry, can you tell me what your name is
Melvin.
Melvin,
and the rest of your name?
Yamil Mojica Torres.
Jamil Mojica Torres.
All right, Mr. Mojica, the court, in your case, you were picked up for violation of probation condition D for leaving the county of residence without consent on or about July 30th, 2022, and condition E, a new law violation on or about July 30th, 2022, for which bond shall stay at no bond on both counts. Thank you. And I have appointed the public defender to represent you, sir. All right, thank you, and thank you, Madam Interpreter.
You're welcome. The interpreter will disconnect.
Mark Bolton. Sir, in your case, there's probable cause for the charge of aggravated stalking after an injunction. Bond will be set at $5,000. You're ordered to have no contact with the victim whatsoever, and possess no weapons and no firearms, and surrender any weapons or firearms to law enforcement within 24 hours of release. Thank you. Malik Fisher. Behavior, he was medical yesterday, and today's behavior reset for 24 hours. John Frederick Welter. The court finds probable cause for count 1, resisting an officer without violence. Bond stays at $500, and count 2, disorderly conduct, bond stays at $100.
Your Honor, the offer from the state is an adjudication of guilt, 5 days in the Orange County Jail with credit for time served and court costs. Mr. Welter would like to accept and enter a plea of no contest.
Absolutely, if he's already ready to go.
Yes, Your Honor. So sign right here, Mr. Welter.
How much time served does Mr. Welter have?
2 days.
Mr. Welter, sir, is this your signature at the bottom of this plea form? Yes or no? Microphone, sir.
Yes, say it louder.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you read the plea form in its entirety before you signed it?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, are you over the age of 18?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that by entering this plea of no contest, you're giving up all the rights on the plea form?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or medication today?
No, ma'am.
Do you understand a conviction on this case will subject you to deportation if you're not a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
There is a sufficient factual basis. You are alert, you're intelligent. I'll adjudicate you guilty. Order 5 days in jail with credit for the 2 days that you have already served to run concurrent on count 1 and count 2. Further, you must pay mandatory court costs as to count 1 within 364 days of your release from incarceration through the clerk of courts. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
You have the right to appeal the sentence. If you wish to appeal, you must do so in writing within 30 days of today's date. Thank you, sir. You may exit. Kieshasha Williams. Okay. The court finds probable cause for the charge of burglary of a dwelling, for which bond is set at $5,000. You're ordered to have no contact with the victim and not return to the location, possess no weapons and no firearms, and surrender any weapons or firearms to law enforcement within 24 hours of release.
Yeah, I spoke to the judge yesterday, and she said 24 hours to leave yesterday.
In fact, what was said yesterday was that the state would be given 24 hours to provide the court with additional information, which the state did provide the court with. And so the court does find probable cause in your case. Thank you, sir. Damian Goudry. Are you Damian Goudry?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Goudry, the court finds probable cause in your case for child abuse. Bond is set at $3,500. You're ordered to have no contact with the child or the child's family that was involved in this case. Even if they're your family, you're not to have contact with them. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
The court is further ordering you to possess no firearms and no weapons, and surrendering any firearms or weapons to law enforcement within 24 hours of release. The court is also ordering you not to return to the location where this incident occurred, with the exception of a one-time visit to recover personal items. Thank you. William Henry. The court finds probable cause for battery, count 1, and burglary of an occupied dwelling, count 2. Bonds set at 500 on count 1 and 2,500 on count 2. You're ordered to have no contact with the victim, not return to the location where this incident occurred, possess no weapons and no firearms, and surrender any weapons or firearms to law enforcement within 24 hours of release. Thank you, sir.
I live there.
I'll give you a one-time visit with the presence of law enforcement to recover any personal items. Otherwise, no contact and no return. Brian Hill? Brian Hill?
Yes.
Mr. Hill, in your case, the court finds probable cause for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and bond is set at 2,500, and battery, domestic violence bond is set at 500. You're ordered to have no contact with the victim, not return to the location this incident occurred, possess no weapons and no firearms, and surrender any weapons or firearms to law enforcement within 24 hours of release. If you need a one-time visit, you can have that in the presence of law enforcement to recover personal items. Thank you.
Yeah, on this case here, I never touched her. She was in the kitchen.
Stop.
Sir, I want you to know that I did appoint the public defender to represent you on the case, and unless the public defender informs me that they want you to make a comment, I think you just need to take their advice,
I'm never talking to her and anyone in just 13 seconds, that's it.
which is why you probably should not be talking about your case, sir. All right, thank you, sir. Rodney McElwain. Mr. McElwain, the court finds probable cause for violation of a pretrial release condition on a domestic violence case. Bond is set at $1,500. I'm revoking PTR on that second case, on that case, and setting bond of no bond. Further, the court is, as to your, actually, their second case, possession of methamphetamine, bond is set at $1,000.
Ma'am, that's my first time ever.
On the new law, possession of meth? Yes. The court is ordering you to have no contact with the victim, possess no weapons, no firearms, and surrender any weapons or firearms to law enforcement within 24 hours of release. And I have revoked the bond on 2022 MM 341AA and set no bond as well. Jamal Robinson. Mr. Robinson, in your case, the court does find probable cause for the offense of battery, domestic battery by strangulation, and sets a bond of $2,500. As to false imprisonment, count 2, bond is set at $3,000. The court is ordering you have no contact with the victim,
No.
possess no weapons, possess no firearms, not return to the location this incident occurred, and surrender any weapons and firearms to law enforcement within 24 hours of release. Thank you. Mark Bernardo. Bernardo.
And there is a victim present, Your Honor.
All right, let's swear in the victim on the Mark Bernardo case.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give should be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes,
Please state your name for the record.
Jasmine Groves.
Ma'am, you can take your hand down now. Ma'am, either the state or the defense are able to ask you questions if they wish, and I do need you to answer all their questions out loud into the microphone. Thank you.
Good morning, Ms. Gross. How do you know the defendant?
He's my spouse.
Do you live together?
We do.
While this case is pending, do you want to have contact with him?
Yes.
Has something like this happened before?
No.
Were drugs or alcohol involved in this incident?
No.
I have no further questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Any questions, Ms. George?
No questions, Your Honor.
All right, in your case, sir, domestic violence battery, I do find probable cause, and throwing a deadly missile into an occupied vehicle, I also do find probable cause. You qualify for the pretrial release program, for which I will order. Conditions of pretrial release are that you have no hostile contact with the victim, and that you possess no weapons and no firearms, and surrender any weapons or firearms to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release.
All right, so they'll release you when you can have.
Any-
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
So pretrial release means that there's no bond required? I don't have to bond him out?
Well, pretrial, yes, I did not order a bond in his case. What I did is I ordered him to participate in a program called pretrial release. So there are going to be conditions of pretrial release, and there are administrative fees that are required with pretrial release. But no, you do not have to post the bond.
So his release will be today?
I am ordering him to participate in pretrial release effective immediately.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
Jitania Webb. Are you Jitania Webb? All right. In your case, the court finds probable cause for burglary of an occupied conveyance, and bond is set at $3,500. And count 2 battery domestic violence bond is set at $500. Conditions of bond are that you have no contact with the victim, possess no weapons, no firearms, and surrender any in your possession to law enforcement within 24 hours of release, and not return to the location this incident occurred, and maintain a separate residence from the victim. You are authorized a one-time visit in the presence of law enforcement to recover personal items. Thank you. Arian Deshawn Blue. Mr. Blue, the court finds probable cause for battery domestic violence in your case and sets a bond of $500. Further, sir, the court is ordering that you have no contact with the victim, and that you possess no weapons, no firearms, and not return to and surrender any weapons or firearms to law enforcement within 24 hours of release, not return to the location of this incident with the exception of a one-time visit with law enforcement to retrieve personal items. Thank you. Devin Islam. Devin Islam. Mr. Islam, the court finds probable cause in your case for battery dating violence, and I am ordering a $500 bond and ordering you to have no contact with the victim, possess no weapons, possess no firearms, and surrender any weapons or firearms to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release. Maintain a separate residence from the victim, and not return to the location this incident occurred. Gabriela Navarez Figueroa. I don't have the, does she qualify for pretrial release?
Yes, Your Honor.
I don't have the sheet for Gabriela. Are you Gabriela Figueroa? All right. In your case, the court finds probable cause for both count 1 and count 2 battery domestic violence. Bond is, you qualify for pretrial release. I've been informed that I am going to order pretrial release in your case. Conditions of pretrial release are that you have no contact with the victim, that you possess no weapons and no firearms, surrender any weapons or firearms to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release. Further, that you not return to the location of this incident. Uganda Perry.
Your Honor, I apologize. With regard to Ms. Navarez Figueroa, DCF was also contacted if she could comply with any DCF plan.
The court will further add an order that you comply with any DCF order that may be entered in this case regarding my kids. Thank you.
And did you give a one-time return, Your Honor? I couldn't.
Yes, I'll give a one-time return right now. Ma'am, I am authorizing you to have a one-time return to recover any personal belongings. You must do that in the presence of law enforcement. Thank you.
Your yellow.
Uganda Perry. These are out of order or something. Okay, here's Uganda Perry. The court finds probable cause for trespass on property at the warning, for which bond is set at $500. There's also a charge of violation of conditions of pretrial release. The court is ordering no bond on that. And the court, as to your out on bond case 2022 CF 8223AO, the court is revoking the bond and setting no bond. The court is ordering you to have no contact with the victims, that you possess no weapons and no firearms, and surrender any weapons or firearms to law enforcement within 24 hours of release.
Did you do a no return, Your Honor? I may have missed
And,
it.
yeah, I probably forgot. And also, I'm ordering you to not return to the location of this property.
Thank you.
Maribel Rodriguez. That person does qualify for PR. Ms. Rodriguez, the court finds probable cause in your case for battery, domestic violence. You do qualify for the pretrial release program, for which I will order. Conditions of pretrial release are that you have no contact with the victim, that you not return to the location of this incident, with the exception of a one-time visit to recover personal items. Further, you must possess no weapons and no firearms, and surrender any weapons or firearms to law enforcement within 24 hours of release. Thank you. Daviuna Williams. The court finds probable cause in your case for battery, domestic violence. You do qualify for the pretrial release program, for which I will order, ma'am. The conditions of pretrial release are that you have no contact with the victim, that you possess no weapons and possess no firearms, and surrender any weapons and firearms to law enforcement within 24 hours of release, that you not return to the location of this incident with the exception of a one-time visit to recover personal items. Kia Gibson. Kia Gibson. As to Kia Gibson, you were picked up on an out-of-county warrant on 2 counts from Seminole County. Those warrants have a no bond, and bond will stay set at no bond. No action on the out on bond case from 2019. Timothy Crandall.
He refused, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Crandall refused.
I will waive the appearance, Your Honor.
All right, the court, he has a new law violation, case number 2022. Can't read my own handwriting. It must be CF. 9390AO. The court finds probable cause for count 1. Bond is set at $1,000. Count 2, bond is at $150. Count 3, bond is $100. Count 4, bond is $100. The court orders a no bond as to the 4 VOP case, on-view VOP cases, and appoints the public defender on all cases. Edgardo Rios, you have a new case, new law violation for which the court finds probable cause, possession of ammunition by a convicted felon. Bond stays at $5,000, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Bond stays at $150. You're ordered to possess no weapons and no firearms as a condition of release. and surrender any weapons and firearms to law enforcement. As to your violation of probation, the court orders a bond of no bond.
You'll see someone next week.
Eduardo Velez. All right, you picked up for violation of probation, condition 5, which states that you committed a new law violation of driving under the influence on or about June 5th, 2022. And a second condition 5, refusal to submit to testing on or about June 5th, 2022, for which bond shall remain at no bond. Thank you. At this time, the clerk has handed me several 33-day motions. Is this an add-on or something different? Okay, well, I'll just do them. I'll just do them in the order you handed them to me. Michael Cleveland, 2022 CF 7816 AO. What says the state?
No objection.
This motion is granted. State has no objection. Jesse James Beam, 2022 CF 7727 AO. State,
No objection.
motion's granted. State has no objection. Maisha Felder, 2022 CF 8011. State.
Objection. Information was filed.
All right, this motion is denied. Wilfredo Lorenzana Resto, 2022 CF 8078 AO.
Your Honor, can you tell me if he's still in jail? I show that he bonded out.
Madam Clerk, can we confirm whether he's in jail or not? Or jail staff?
He's still in jail.
The jail staff says he's still in jail.
Objection. Information was filed.
All right, I will deny this motion as an information has been filed. Jeremy Lee Lutz, 2022 8070 AO.
No objection.
This motion is granted. No objection from the state. Shani Latif Holland, 2022 CF 8123 AO.
Objection. Information was filed.
I will deny this motion. Information's been filed. Jose Antonio Vasquez Datos, 2022 CF 7992 AO.
No objection.
And that motion's granted. Xavier Wilson, 2022 CF 6564 AO.
No objection.
Motion's granted. So I had read over half of the second session. I'm ready to start on that, but I don't see the papers.
Your Honor, I still have to go over the plea offers with the inmates. So can we have at least the 15 minutes
Oh, yes,
in
sure.
between?
Where are the papers from the first session? I mean, the second session. What am I talking about? They took them? I don't see them anymore. They were taken? I read over half of them. Do you have plea offers on the first few?
I have, yes, Your Honor. I think the beginning is the misdemeanor plea.
Yeah, okay, there are a lot of
Mhm.
potential pleas there.
Yes, Your Honor. I have a lot.
Yes, ma'am. The court will take how about I do a 20-minute recess?
That works, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, 20-minute recess. What time is it now?
10:05.
So we will come back at, how about 10:30? That's even more time.
That works. Thank you, Your Honor.
10:30. Court's in recess until 10:30. Ms. Bentley, and you have two cases. The court is ordering no bond on the first case, 2022 CF 7034 AO. Condition of bond that you possess no weapons or firearms. Count one, battery on a law enforcement officer, and count two, resisting an officer without violence. Oh, State, let me just, inform you. I have conflicting bond amounts on this case. One is, for 5,000, count one, and 1,000, count two. The other one is no bond, count one, and no bond, count two.
Your Honor, these are both, they're not life offenses, so she is entitled to a bond.
Yeah, I thought so too, but I think the judge ordered it. And so I don't know, and it's a capias, and I don't know that the judge ordered the 5,000 and the 1,000 or the no bond and the no bond. Sometimes judges order no bond on capias cases.
Your Honor, if it's a capias, you can still do, if it's a warrant, you can
I
still
just
do it.
don't know
If
which
it's an
one the
FTA,
judge-
then it cannot be changed.
Do we have, what did you say, sorry?
I was saying if it's a warrant, you can change it. If it is a failure to appear, then you cannot.
I'm not sure.
It's a warrant, Your Honor, showing it's a.
So I'm not, it says capias,
Oh, Trent.
it says warrant unit, capias. I'm gonna set the bond, and instead of no bond, ma'am, I'm gonna set a $5,000 bond on count one and a $1,000 bond on count two. You also have a second case, possession of drug paraphernalia, and bond is set at $500. Probable cause is, for that case.
She had a question. Let me see.
No weapons, no firearms.
It's a warrant.
Surrender any weapons or firearms to law enforcement within 24 hours of release.
Your Honor, in this particular case, she has no criminal history. She qualifies for pretrial release. I would ask for pretrial release.
Can I see the pretrial release paperwork? Oh. Does she qualify for pretrial release?
She does, Your Honor.
The court, instead of, on the capias case, I'm gonna leave it at the bond that the judge set. But on the new law, I will order pretrial release.
Based on my reading, Your Honor, it said it may be modified by the initial appearance judge.
Well, let me see the paperwork again.
She's not going to be able to afford, and she has no history.
Hold on, let me see. Where do you see the maybe modified language at? Because
Order directing clerk to issue the capias. It says the judge presiding at initial appearance may set or modify the bail.
where is that at? Because it's not in my paperwork.
In the case I opened, it says order directing clerk to issue the capias.
No, it's
And
not
the-
in my paperwork.
The judge signed, it says circuit court judge, and it shows the signature of the judge, and
I know, but that's not on my paperwork, so why don't you just bring me what you're looking at?
I don't have a printer, Your Honor, I just have the computer. If
Well, can't you pick that computer up and bring it up here?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. You can come to Miss Eugene. And so that's, I don't even have that. Go ahead and scroll down. Okay. Do not possess. Where does it say that at? Go back up. Let me see which judge signed it. I know, but I want to know who the judge is because that helps me to know what the thought process is. Okay. Go back up, let me look at the case number. I can't see the case number. So I have to be sure it's the same case. If I'm sure, if it's the same case, I'll do it. Read it out. All right, based on the document in the court file that was signed by the judge, the issuing judge, the court will modify. Madam Clerk, I want you to put that in the court minutes. Based upon the document by the issuing judge, the court will modify the release to pretrial release with the condition that the defendant possess no weapons and no firearms.
So to confirm, Your Honor, it's now pretrial release for both of the charges?
Yes,
Thank
it's
you.
pretrial release on count 1, count 2 in the CF case, and pretrial release in the MM case.
Your Honor, this is Ms. What's her name?
That's Mr. Goudry? All right, Mr. Goudry, one moment. Your attorney is possibly waiting.
Welcome to an Econo meeting. You are entering the meeting now.
Mr. Barker, this is Judge.
You are the only participant.
All right, let me just contact my assistant and tell her to have Mr. Barker call in. Mr. Goudry, we're just going to keep you here for a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, while we wait, can you give me the case number, please?
Mr. Goudry's case number is 2022 CF 9415AO, and we did address it this morning, and then I found out that Mr. Barker wanted to be present.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Goudry kind of stepped back, and I'm going to just call a couple of other cases until we have Mr. Barker on the, so I'm going to pass the Spanish cases. There are 2 of them, you said? 2 Spanish? 3? Okay, well, I'm passing them because I don't want to do them and Mr. Barker at the same time. Passing the Spanish cases. The judge would like to pass the Spanish cases. Megan Barney. Megan Barney.
Oh, Megan Barney.
Can somebody please tell me where my PTR documentation is?
What happened to Giovanni Bahana?
Giovanni Bahana?
I don't know. I never got it back. It was in the courtroom.
Oh, okay, so he's back there?
Nobody brought it back to me when you all brought me this. Yeah, but, yeah, they took it this morning, whoever, can you check my office too? I don't think it's in there, but if it is, bring it for me, please. And ask Ann.
Your Honor, do you have
Giovanni Bajani? Yes. Giovanni? Mr. Giovanni Bajani?
Yes, how you doing, ma'am?
Good morning. The court finds probable cause in your case for petty theft. Does he qualify for PTR?
No, Your Honor.
I'll set a bond of $500. Order you not to return to the location where this incident occurred.
No.
Thank you. Amiana Bravetti?
Megan Barney?
Oh, Megan, yes. Megan Barney. Ms. Barney, the court finds probable cause in your case for prostitution. Bond stays set at $500.
Your Honor, I did speak with the state. They also have no objection to a ROR in this.
The court will order ROR.
There you go.
Thank you, ma'am. Amiani Bravetti. In the cases that the state has no objection to ROR, you can just jump in and tell me before I start setting bonds.
Okay, thank you.
You said Amiana Bravetti?
Yes.
She bonded.
Well, who is this? Are you Bravetti?
Bravetti bonded, Your Honor.
Okay, Bravetti bonded. Okay, bonded per jail staff. Bree Hudon.
And Your Honor, this is also one, the state has no objection to a
All right, the court finds probable cause in your case, and I will order release on recognizance in your case. Thank you. Carl Alvin Jones. Mr. Jones, the court finds probable cause for the offense of trespassing in a structure or a conveyance. Bond is set at $250.
Your Honor, the offer from the state is an adjudication of guilt, credit time served, no return to 440 North Orlando Avenue. And Mr. Jones would like to accept and enter a plea of no contest.
Thank you, I'll take that. Where were they? Okay, I knew the clerk had them and I didn't have them. A clerk had them. Thank you so much. Is this your signature here?
Yes, it is.
Did you read this plea form before you signed it?
Yes, I did.
Are you under the influence of any alcohol or drugs or medicine?
No.
Do you understand that by entering a plea of no contest, you're giving up the rights on the plea form?
Yes.
Do you understand that conviction on this case will subject you to being deported if you're not a U.S. citizen?
Yes.
There is a sufficient factual basis in your case. You're alert, you're intelligent. How much time served does he have?
2 days.
I will adjudicate you guilty. Order 2 days in jail with credit for 2 days' time served, and you are ordered to not return to 440 North Orlando Avenue, Orlando, Florida. Further, I am ordering you to pay mandatory court costs in this case within 364 days of your release. And all monies must be paid through the clerks of courts. Do you have any questions?
No, I don't.
You have the right to appeal the sentence. If you wish to appeal, you must do so in writing within 30 days of today's date. Thank you.
Your Honor, Jennifer Lamar refused.
All right, Ms. Lamar.
And Your Honor, can we reset for tomorrow? There's an offer.
All right, let's roll this for 24 hours. Alexandra Leba. Are you Alexander Labor?
Yes, I'm.
In your case, the court finds probable cause for resisting an officer without violence and sets a bond of $500. The court revokes the bond on the out on bond case 2021 CT 116 AE and orders a new bond of $1,000. Thank you, sir. Okay, we are at Richard Masonette. Richard Masonette. The court finds probable cause in your case for resisting an officer without violence. Bond is set at $250 in this case.
And Your Honor, the offer from the state is an adjudication of guilt, credit time served, and no, and court costs, I'm sorry.
How much time served?
Yes, 2 days.
All right, that's acceptable. Mr. Barker, are you on the video yet? I'm gonna turn it off and turn it back on because he keeps saying he's on. All right, Mr. Masonette, is this your signature here at the bottom of this plea form? Did you read the plea form in its entirety? Sir, do you understand that by entering this plea of no contest, you're giving up the rights on the plea form? Are you under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or medication today? Do you understand a conviction on this case will subject you to deportation if you're not a U.S. citizen? There's a sufficient factual basis in your case. You're alert, you're intelligent. As to the case, I'll adjudicate you guilty, order 2 days in jail with credit for 2 days' time served. Further, I will order you to pay mandatory court costs through the clerk of courts within 364 days of today's date, and I am ordering your release as to this charge. You have the right to appeal the sentence. If you wish to appeal, you must do so in writing within 30 days of today's date. Do you have any questions? Yes or no? All right, thank you, sir. You're excused. All right, recalling Mr. Damian Goodry. All right, Mr. Barker, I see that you are now on the video. Sorry for the delay. We are recalling this case. We were not aware that you were appearing this morning.
Thank you,
So-
Your Honor. I appreciate that. I was in court.
Oh, that's fine. In his case, he's charged with child abuse, and I did find probable cause for the charge and order a $3,500 bond. You may be heard at this time, Mr. Barker.
I was, thank you, Your Honor. I was concerned that there was also a fugitive from justice hold on him. I don't know if that's been cleared up.
Did, can I have the sorry, is there a fugitive from justice hold on Mr. Goodry?
Yes, Your Honor, there is from Louisiana with a bond of no bond.
There is a no bond hold on him from Louisiana, yes, sir.
And so my question is, we addressed this a few months ago, and he was released from the Orange County Jail when, I have the email here from the Rochelle Peterson from OCFL. It says this is from March 22nd, 2022. So I don't know if this is a new warrant after March 22nd, but on March 22nd, it said from the sheriff's office, it said, please be advised after speaking with Rapids or Rapides Parish Sheriff's Office, they have refused to extradite the subject and has dropped their charge. So he will be released as to the FFJ charge. And so I told him, of course, since it seemed that Louisiana dropped the case not to report to Louisiana, and now he's been picked up again. And I just wanted to make sure that it's not the same warrant that somehow still stayed active even after he was released from jail.
What I'm looking at now is from August 10th, 2022, via teletype confirming that the subject is wanted and the agency will extradite. So I don't have any other details, dates, or times, or what the charge is, just that he is wanted and that they intend to extradite. And it is the Rapides Parish Sheriff's Office. They confirmed it on August the 10th, 2022.
Okay, thank you. So we had filed a motion previously to release him on bond. He can report, he's happy to report to Rapides Parish on his own dime and not wait and make the citizens of Orange County pay for him while he's in jail. So we're asking the court to set a bond in the amount of $5,000, order him to report to Louisiana to turn himself in on the charge, and then we would provide proof of that, whether he bonds out or whether he's held no bond. Either way, that would satisfy this court by a certain date, whatever the court feels comfortable with.
Do you have any bond information from Rapides Parish?
No, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Barker, I'm unable to grant that request at this time. I don't have enough information to grant that request.
Okay, I will see what I can do about gathering more information for you and resetting this for a hearing.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Guidry. All right, now we can go back to the Spanish.
You are the only participant.
I'll call the Spanish interpreter.
Good morning, this is Natalia Romero, Spanish interpreter on the line, already sworn in today.
Good morning. We have multiple cases. The first case, Hugo Eduardo Gomez, case number 2022 CT 4562 AO and 2022 CT 4563 AO. He's wearing the headphones.
He can hear the interpreter, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Gomez, sir, the court finds probable cause in your case for DUI, driving under the influence. Bond stays at $500, and count two, no valid driver's license. Bond stays at $100. State, do you have any conditions that you wish the court to impose on this bond?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Sir, I have appointed the public defender to represent you in your case. Thank you. Jose Eduardo Aguilar. And that's case number 2020 CF 1009 AO. Mr. Aguilar, you were picked up for failure to appear, and bond will stay set at no bond in your case. The public defender has been appointed in your case.
Your Honor, can you also advise the defendant that he has an immigration hold?
Yes, Mr. Aguilar, you do have an immigration hold as well. Please be advised of that. Thank you, sir. Julio Angel Rivera Rosa. And that's case number 2022 CF 9116 AO. Sir, wait a minute, let me look at this. One moment.
Un momento, por favor.
Mr. Rivera, the court finds probable cause for count one, aggravated assault with a firearm. Bond is set at $3,500. And count two, shooting or throwing a missile into a vehicle, and bond is set at $1,000. The court is ordering that you have no contact whatsoever with the victim and that you surrender any firearms or weapons to law enforcement within 24 hours of release, and that you possess no firearms or weapons as a condition of release. Thank you, sir. And I have appointed the public defender to represent you as well, sir. Is that it for the Spanish cases? All right. Thank you. That's it for the Spanish cases.
You're welcome, Your Honor. Have a great weekend.
You do the same. And
Thank you.
Shalina Maldonado, previously bonded per staff. David Midget.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, the court finds probable cause for trespass on property other than a structure or a conveyance. Is there an offer?
Yes, Your Honor. The offer is an adjudication of guilt, credit, time served, no return to 5265 South John Young Parkway. Mr. Midget would like to accept and enter a plea of no contest.
And what is the time served?
2 days.
Thank you. Mr. Midget, sir, is this your signature here at the bottom of this plea form?
Yes,
Did you read this plea form before you signed it, sir?
yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that by entering this plea of no contest, you are giving up the rights on the front of this document?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or medicine at this time?
I am not.
Do you understand a conviction on this case will subject you to being deported if you're not a United States citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
There is a sufficient factual basis, and you are alert and you're intelligent. I will accept your plea and adjudicate you guilty. Order 2 days in jail with credit for 2 days' time served. I will further order you not to return to 5265 South John Young Parkway in Orlando, Florida. Further, sir, you must pay mandatory court costs in this case through the clerk's payment program, and all monies must be paid within 364 days of your release. I am releasing you as to this charge. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
You have the right to appeal the sentence. If you wish to appeal, you must do so in writing within 30 days of today's date. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Jaquita Tarver. Oh, this one should be next?
Tarver is mental health.
All right, Tarver is mental health, this
there's-
public defender.
There's an offer. Can we reset for tomorrow, Your Honor?
Okay, well, the Jaquita Tarver, I just called Jaquita Tarver.
Yes, Your Honor.
That, she said mental health.
When I reviewed her history, I didn't see any competency issues, Your Honor. She's pled before.
So do you want me to set it for tomorrow?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, reset it for 24 hours.
Your Honor, you skipped Mr. Rivera Alfred.
Alfred Rivera. Alfred Rivera. Mr. Rivera, in your case, the court does find probable cause for the offense of possession of paraphernalia. Bond stays at 500, and count 2, soliciting without a permit. Bond stays at 100. Sorry,
your-
bond is set at 100.
And Your Honor, the offer is a withhold of adjudication, credit time served, and court costs. And Mr. Rivera would like to, accept
That's
and enter a plea of
acceptable.
no contest.
Yes, ma'am. Does he have, what time served does he have?
2 days.
Mr. Rivera, is this your signature here at the bottom of your plea form, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you read this plea form in its entirety before you signed it?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you under the influence of any alcohol or drugs or medicine today?
No, ma'am.
Do you understand that a conviction on this case will subject you to being deported if you're not a United States citizen? There is a sufficient factual basis. You are alert, you're intelligent. I will withhold the adjudication of guilt as to both count 1 and count 2. Order 2 days in jail with credit for time served, concurrent. Further, you must pay mandatory court costs as to count 1. The court will order all amounts be paid within 364 days of your release from incarceration via the clerk of court's payment program. I am ordering your release as to this charge. Sir, do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
You have the right to appeal the sentence. If you wish to appeal, you must do so in writing within 30 days of today's date. Kaylee Weaver.
Bonded, Your Honor.
Bonded per the court, the jail staff. Rakita Wells. The court finds probable cause for prostitution or lewdness.
And Your Honor, the state has no objection to a ROR.
Court will order a release on recognizance as to this charge. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, bye.
Jerome James Banks. Mr. Banks, court finds probable cause for camping in a prohibited area.
And, Your Honor, the offer from the state. Oh, sorry, wrong one. I had this for Brown. This is Banks. In this case, actually, Your Honor, there is an offer, but he's been deemed incompetent. And I would ask for an ROR due
Any
to.
objection to an ROR, State?
No objection.
The court will order a release on recognizance as to this case. Do you want me to order no return?
Yes, please, Your Honor.
Further, I'm ordering the defendant not return to the location where this incident occurred as a condition of release. Kendrick Brown. Mr. Brown, in your cases, the court finds probable cause for camping in a prohibited area. The court is setting a bond of $250.
And Your Honor, the offer from the state on the new law is a withhold credit time served. Additionally, he has a open container in 2022 MO 79780. The offer is also a withhold credit time served. There's a $10 filing fee and court costs. Mr. Brown would like to accept both offers and enter a plea of no contest.
All right, I will accept that. Are you stipulating to a factual basis on the open container charge?
Yes, Your Honor, and I don't have the case number for the new law. Do you have it?
2022 MO 90780. The court will take no action on the out on bond case 2022 CF 8125AO. Mr. Brown, is this your signature here at the bottom of this plea form?
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor.
Did you read this plea form in its entirety, sir, before you signed it?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, do you understand that by entering the plea of no contest, you're giving up all the rights on the front of the plea form?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or medication today?
No, ma'am.
Do you understand a conviction on this case will subject you to being deported if you're not a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, as to case number 2022 MO 90780, there is a sufficient factual basis and you are alert, you are intelligent. I will withhold adjudication of guilt, order
2 days.
2 days in jail, credit for the 2 days that you have served, and order you to not return to the location where this incident occurred. As to case number 2022 MO 79780, I will withhold adjudication of guilt, order credit for time served
21 days.
in the amount of 21 days and order you to pay the $10 filing fee and mandatory court costs. Mandatory court costs are also ordered as to the 907 case. All monies are ordered to be paid through the clerk's payment program until paid in full, and you have 364 days to pay it in full from your release, and I am ordering your release as to these charges. Do you have any questions?
She didn't take any action. It's still open. No, she took no action, so it still remains the same. You don't have to pay anything. You have any questions?
No, ma'am.
You have the right to appeal the sentence. If you wish to appeal, you must do so in writing within 30 days of today's date. Thank you.
So, you're going home. Stay in contact with your attorney for the felony. Okay?
Rashalita Lakita Brown. Ms. Brown, the court finds probable cause for camping in a prohibited area. Any objection to release on recognizance on this case?
No
Is she gonna
objection.
take a
There is an
plea?
offer.
She has a plea offer?
Yes, Your Honor. The offer is a withhold credit time served and court costs.
All right.
Ms. Brown, excuse me, would like to accept and enter a plea of no contest.
That's fine. Is this your signature at the bottom of this plea form? Hand it to me. Did you read the plea form before you signed it? You understand that by entering the plea of no contest, you're giving up the rights on the plea form? Are you under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or medicine today? Do you understand a conviction on this case will subject you to deportation if you're not a U.S. citizen? There is a sufficient factual basis. You are alert, you are intelligent. I will withhold adjudication of guilt. Does she have 2 days?
Yes, Your Honor.
Order 2 days in jail with credit for 2 days' time served and order mandatory court costs, which must be paid within 364 days of your release to the clerk of court. I am ordering your release as to this charge. Do you have any questions? You have the right to appeal the sentence. If you wish to appeal, you must do so in writing within 30 days of today's date. Cecile Jackson, thank you, your excuse. Cecile Jackson. All right, I find probable cause in your case for camping in a prohibited area. Does she want to, is there an offer, and if so, does she wish to accept it?
It's withhold of adjudication and credit time served, Your Honor.
Mm-hmm.
And she would like to accept and enter a plea of no contest.
All right, thank you. Does she have 2 days as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
You can put them in there. Thank you.
Is this your signature at the bottom of this plea form, Ms. Jackson? Ms. Jackson, you signed this document? Did you read the document before you signed it?
Yes.
Do you understand that you are giving up the rights on the document, the plea form, in order to enter your plea here today?
Yes.
Are you under the influence of any alcohol or drugs or medication today?
No.
Do you understand a conviction on this case will subject you to deportation if you're not a United States citizen?
Yes.
There is a sufficient factual basis to accept your plea, and you are alert and intelligent. I will withhold adjudication of guilt, order 2 days in jail with credit for the 2 days you served, and order you to pay mandatory court costs through the clerk of court payment program within 364 days of your release. I am ordering your release as to this charge. Do you have any questions?
No.
You have the right to appeal the sentence. If you wish to appeal, you must do so in writing within 30 days of today's date. Thank you. Julian Onley.
Bonded, Your Honor.
Bonded per the jail staff. Angel Tarver.
Yes.
Yes.
You're charged with camping in a prohibited area. I do find probable cause for that charge. State you've attended an offer in that case.
Yes, Your Honor, it's a withhold of adjudication and credit time served.
Does he wish to accept that?
Yes, Your Honor, and enter a plea of no contest.
All right, and he has 2 days credit.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Tarver, is this your signature on this plea form being handed to me right now?
Yes.
Did you read the plea form, sir, before you signed it?
Yes.
Do you understand that you're giving up all the rights on this plea form by entering your plea of no contest?
Yes.
Are you under the influence of any alcohol or drugs or medicine at this time?
No.
Do you understand a conviction on this case will subject you to being deported if you're not a United States citizen?
Yes.
There is a sufficient factual basis. You are alert, you are intelligent, and I will withhold adjudication of guilt, order 2 days in jail with credit for the 2 days you have already served, and order you to pay mandatory court costs. All court costs must be paid through the clerk of court payment program within 364 days of your release. I am ordering your release as to this charge. Any questions? You have the right to appeal the sentence. If you wish to appeal, you must do so in writing within 30 days of today's date. Thank you. Johnny West. Mr. West, the court finds probable cause for the charge of camping in a prohibited area, and the state has tendered an offer in this case as well.
Yes, Your Honor, withhold of adjudication and credit time served.
And Mr. West would like to accept and enter a plea of no contest.
Does he have 2 days credit?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. West, is this your signature here at the bottom of this plea form that's handed to me? Did you read this document before you signed it? Are you under the influence of any alcohol or drugs or medicine? Do you understand a conviction on this case will subject you to being deported if you're not a U.S. citizen? There is a sufficient factual basis. You're alert, you're intelligent, and I will withhold adjudication of guilt and order 2 days in jail with credit for the 2 days you have served. Further, I will order you to pay all mandatory court costs within 364 4 days of your release. I am ordering your release as to this charge. Do you have any questions? You have the right to appeal the sentence. If you wish to appeal, you must do so in writing within 30 days of today's date. Thank you, sir. You may exit. Thank you. Joel Amy. Joel Amy. Mr. Amy, in your case, you have two cases, actually. The court finds probable cause for failure to obey a police officer or fire department officer. And in the second case, resisting without violence, I find probable cause for that as well.
And Your Honor, he has been deemed incompetent in 2022 CF 806580. I would ask for an ROR on those cases.
Let me ask the state if they have any objection. Any objection?
I apologize, Your Honor. I believe I've already said to the defense that I had no objection. I'm just looking at his history. No, I have no objection, Your Honor.
The court will grant the motion for ROR as to both cases. Further, the court takes no action on the out on bond matter. Chandler Ayers. Mr. Ayers, you were picked up for failure to appear, and bond will stay set at $250.
Your Honor, the offer from the state is a withhold credit time served and court costs, and Mr. Ayers would like to accept and enter a plea of no contest.
All right. Defense stipulating to a factual basis for no valid driver's license.
Oh, sorry. Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Ayers, is this your signature here at the bottom of this plea form?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, did you read this plea form before you signed it?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you under the influence of any alcohol or drugs or medicine today?
No, ma'am.
Do you understand a conviction on this case will subject you to being deported if you're not a United States citizen?
ma'am.
There is a sufficient factual basis. You're alert, you're intelligent. I'll withhold adjudication of guilt. Does he have 2 days?
2 days, Your Honor.
Order 2 days in jail with credit for the 2 days you have served and order you to pay mandatory court costs through the clerk of court's payment program. All monies must be paid within 364 days of your release. I am ordering your release as to this charge. Do you have any questions? You have the right to appeal the sentence. If you wish to appeal, you must do so in writing within 30 days of today's date. Thank you, sir. Corey Lamar Balo. Mr. Balo, I find probable cause for driving without a valid license.
He does qualify for pretrial release, Your Honor. I would ask for pretrial release.
I'll order pretrial release in this case. Thank you.
Any conditions, Your Honor?
Not to drive without a valid driver's license.
So you'll be released. Okay.
Richard Kyle Bush. You were picked up for failure to appear on a violation of probation. Bond will stay at no bond. Thank you, Mr. Bush. I'm sorry, I didn't hear what he said.
Who was the original judge on my case?
Oh, I don't know who the original judge was. No, I don't know. Jose Luis Perez Terrain. All right, previously bonded per jail staff. James William Sane. Mr. Sane? The court finds probable cause in your case for driving under the influence with property damage or injury to the person of another. And bond is set at $2,000. And count 2, DUI, driving under the influence with a BAL of .08 or more. And bond is set at $500. The court is ordering that you consume and possess no alcoholic beverages or illegal substances, drugs. Of course, you are authorized to consume any drugs prescribed by a medical professional. The court is ordering you to not drive without a valid driver's license. The court is ordering monitoring of alcohol or substance use, illegal substance use through the pretrial release program, and monitoring shall be done randomly. Random monitoring. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Enrique Alicia. Mr. Alicia, the court finds probable cause for carrying a concealed firearm. Bond stays set at $1,000, and you are ordered to possess no firearms or weapons and surrender any firearms or weapons to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release. Ricky Anderson. Medical, per the jail staff, we want me to reset it?
I will waive the appearance.
Defense waives. The court does find probable cause for count 1, bond is set at $1,500, and count 2, bond stays at $500.
Your Honor, he does qualify for pretrial release. I would ask for pretrial release.
Hold on a minute, let me just catch up with myself. Does he qualify for pretrial release?
He does, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am. I will grant that, and I will order pretrial release.
Any conditions?
No, ma'am. Yes, straight pretrial release. You automatically do the drug testing on drug cases, don't you?
No, Your Honor.
Oh, well, then I do have a condition. Random drug monitoring. Consumer possess no illegal drugs. Barrett Coleman. Marquise Donta Chisholm. Sir, you have 2 cases. The first case, 2022 CF 9073. Court finds probable cause for fleeing and attempting to elude a police officer. Bond stays set at $25,000, and count 2, battery on a law enforcement officer. Bond stays set at $1,000. The court is ordering that you not drive without a valid driver's license, with the exception of if you do have a valid driver's license. Actually, the court is ordering you drive for business purposes only, and not drive without a valid license. As to case number 2022 CF 8231, AO, the court finds probable cause for resisting an officer and fleeing and eluding while lights and siren are active, and bond is set at $2,500, and reckless driving, bond is set at $1,500. Again, you're ordered to not drive without a valid driver's license and to drive for business purposes only. Wait, let me look. On the new case? No, I'm sorry, it's $150. Count 2 is $150, not $1,500. Mistake, my mistake. Barrett Coleman. The court finds probable cause for possession of cocaine. Bond stays set at $1,500. And probable cause for possession of paraphernalia. Bond is set at $150. Dawn Dahlhoff. Ms. Dahlhoff? Ma'am, in your case, the court finds probable cause for petty theft with prior convictions. Bond stays at $1,000, and count 2, possession of heroin. Bond stays at $150. On the auto bond case, bond is revoked. And bond is set at count 1, $1,500, and count 2, $1,500.
And Your Honor, based on my review, it looks like the state only filed on the possession of meth.
Count 1, was that count 1?
I believe. Oh, Your Honor, let me just.
Well, it would become count 1 if that's all they filed on. Is that confirmed?
No, 1,500.
One moment, Your Honor. Yeah, it was just filed, just the possession of meth was filed, Your Honor.
So bond is revoked as to the count for possession of methamphetamine. Bond is set to $1,500 for that count. No action on possession of cocaine since that was not filed. Yes.
Your Honor, with regard to the petty theft, can it be a no return?
The court is ordering as to the new law violation that the
out-of-county warrant in 21 CF 1323, violation of probation. It says, I was asking the clerk if they had the actual violation of probation affidavit, but so far we haven't been able to establish that. As far as I can see, it says no bond. It's an out-of-county warrant. I don't know if the court even has authority to set bond in this case, but it says advise us to pick up when he's available for pickup. So I think that is an indication that bond is not to be set.
Thank you. And Mr. Burke, hopefully you could hear and see your attorney is present in the courtroom. You are here for a violation of your probation for a bond issued out of, it says out of county.
Polk County, Judge.
Polk County, all right, issued out of Polk County, and I'll leave the bond as set at $0.
Okay, Judge, I don't know if the clerk can get me that.
I'm trying to obtain the charging affidavit.
So I might just stick around, see if that says anything different. but
All right,
if it
very
doesn't-
good, thank you.
If it does, I'll call it to the court's attention.
All right,
All right,
thank you. You may be seated. Counsel, has everybody had an opportunity to see the movie?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So, folks, I am appointing the Office of the Public Defender to represent each and every one of you. In the event it is later determined that you do not qualify for those services, then that appointment is a limited appointment for this proceeding only. I'm also advising that you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a future court proceeding. If you are here pursuant to a warrant that was issued or a violation of probation, it is highly unlikely that I will modify the conditions or terms of that warrant. And if there's something you want to say, make sure you say it to your attorney, not on the record. When I call your name, I'm going to have you come up to the podium. I'm going to start with the Spanish cases, however. And let's get the interpreter. I'll be calling Giovanni Acevedo Gonzalez. I have 3 copies of what I believe are the same thing. So, why are they 3 cases? I don't see 3 cases.
Good afternoon, Your Sir, the interpreter.
I can't hear you, sir. Try that again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, can you start over?
Yes, this is Jaime Sotomayor, certified federal interpreter, already sworn.
All right, thank you. Sir, just call the case of Giovanni Acevedo Gonzalez. It is 3 cases, 22 CF 2336, 22 CT 2685, 22 MM 1812.
Ok, tenemos 3 casos para el señor Acevedo González, 22 CF 2336, el 22 CF 2685 y el 22 MM 1812.
Sir, I've appointed the Office of the Public Defender to represent you.
Le he nombrado a la oficina del defensor público para que lo represente.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you.
Usted tiene el derecho a permanecer callado. Cualquier cosa que diga puede ser usada en su contra.
You're here pursuant to 3 different cases.
Usted está aquí debido a 3 casos distintos.
The charges are as follows:
Y los cargos son los siguientes.
possession of a controlled substance without a prescription, and possession and/or use of drug paraphernalia.
Posesión de una sustancia controlada sin receta y o posesión de parafernalia.
I do find probable cause for the charges.
He encontrado causa probable para esos cargos.
As to those 2 counts, you're released under direct PTR pursuant to the administrative order.
y por esos dos cargos va a quedar liberado directamente con las condiciones de la oficina de antelación a juicio pendiente de una orden administrativa.
Your next two cases are driving while license suspended or revoked or equivalent,
Los próximos dos casos son el manejar con licencia suspendida o revocada
and petty theft first offense.
y hurto menor en primera instancia.
Defense, I believe these counts also qualify for direct PTR. Do you agree?
Me parece que estos cargos también cualifican para ser liberados directamente con las condiciones. ¿Están de acuerdo? Estoy de acuerdo, su señoría.
Does the state agree?
¿La fiscalía está de acuerdo?
Yes, Your Honor, I believe so.
Sí, su señoría, nos parece que sí.
Then you'll be released under all counts, under direct PTR conditions. I'm going to add one proviso, and that's on the petty theft count.
Muy bien, entonces yo lo voy a liberar por todos los cargos bajo las condiciones de la oficina de antelación a juicio, pero con el cargo.
You are not to return to the Wawa at issue in that case.
Usted no debe regresar al guagua que está en entredicho en ese caso.
You may be seated.
Así que se puede sentar.
Would the interpreter announce the following, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there anybody else? Well, let me, hold on a second. That's all the Spanish cases I show counsel. Do you have anybody else?
We have another one, Gonzalez, Mercado, Adrian is the first name.
Adrian's the first name? Okay. Gonzalez Mercado.
Adrián González Mercado.
Is that a warrant case or new charge?
It's a new charge, Your Honor.
All right. So, Adrian Gonzalez Mercado. I'm appointing the Office of the Public Defender to represent you.
Muy bien, señora Adrián González Mercado, le estoy nombrando a la oficina del defensor público para que lo represente.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say will be used against you.
Usted tiene el derecho a permanecer callado y cualquier cosa que diga pudiera ser usada en su contra.
You're charged with possession of cocaine and operating a motor vehicle without a valid driver's license.
Usted está acusado de posesión de cocaína y de operar un vehículo de motor sin tener licencia válida.
I do find probable cause for the charges.
He encontrado causa probable motivo fundado para esos cargos
You are released under direct PTR conditions pursuant to the administrative order.
y va a quedar liberado bajo las condiciones de la oficina de antelación al juicio conforme a la orden administrativa.
Be seated.
Se puede sentar.
That was Adrian Gonzalez Mercado. Would the interpreter make the following announcement? If
Your Honor,
yes-
do we have a case number for Mr. González Mercado?
We do. It is 22 CF 2338 and 22 CT 2687.
687. Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Please inquire as to whether or not anyone else needs the services of a Spanish interpreter.
Si hay alguien más que necesite servicio de intérprete español, por favor levante la mano.
And have them raise their hand if they do. Any hands?
We have one in the page.
All right. Got a name for me?
Hernandez Miranda.
New case, warrant. New case or warrant?
A warrant out of Lee County, Your Honor.
Is it Hernandez or Fernandez?
Hernandez with an H.
Thank you.
Your Honor, would you like him to be brought up?
I would. Aaron Hernandez Miranda. I don't have a case. Counsel, are you waiving the reading of the underlying charge?
Yes, Your Honor, but they have to get the key. They don't have the key to the cage they're looking for, and I apologize.
Well, if I could see him in the one cage, I would go forward, but I can't see him, so.
Can't see him, right, Your Honor?
No, I can't see the way the camera's angled. Can you angle the camera toward him? Or do you have to get on a ladder?
I don't think they can reach it, Your Honor.
All right, so no key, no ladder, not doing well today,
Can we just go back to it, Your Honor?
except it's an interpreter case. Are they looking for the key?
Your Honor, sorry to interrupt, but you can call us later.
All right, we'll call you back. How's that? Y'all
No
let me know
problem.
when you found the key, all right?
Yes.
Thanks. Okay,
The key's here when you're ready, Your Honor.
well, why not? We'll get him back on.
Yes, Your Honor.
That was quick.
Well, they found the key. All right. Mr. Hernandez Miranda, I have appointed the Office of the Public Defender to represent you,
Muy bien, señor Hernández Miranda, yo he nombrado a la oficina del defensor público para que lo represente.
and I'm letting you know you have the right to remain silent, and anything you say can and will be used against you.
Y le estoy informando que usted tiene el derecho de permanecer callado y que cualquier cosa que usted diga pudiera ser usado en su contra.
You're here pursuant to a warrant issued out of Lee County, which set a bond of $0.
Usted está aquí debido a una orden de arresto emitida en el condado de Lee, en Lee County, y la fianza en ese caso es 0.
Lee County will be notified of, and it's likely that your transport will be arranged.
Se le va a notificar a Lee County y es muy posible que se van a hacer arreglos entonces para transportarlo allá.
Please be seated.
Así que se puede sentar.
Now, my thanks to the interpreter. Have a great
You're
day.
welcome. You're welcome, Your Honor. You too.
John Billheimer.
He refused, Your Honor.
I'm finding his refusal a waiver. He is here pursuant to an out-of-county warrant out of Orange County, Florida, which set his bond at $250. Tanya Morales. How many cases does she have?
She has 3, Your Honor.
What's the difference?
I'm not unsure, but that's how it came in.
All right. All right. State, before I proceed, State, do you show 3 different cases? And Madam Clerk, while she's answering that, what are the case numbers for the VOPs?
They all seem to be the same case numbers. I was provided with 3 charging affidavits for the same case.
There are 3 charging affidavits for the same case.
Yes.
It's unclear if they're doing 1 per charge. 1 per charge on the original case. Were there 3 counts in that original case? State, you might be able to help me on that.
I'm trying to figure that out as well.
So while you're doing that, Ms. Morales, you are here for a violation of your probation and/or community control. It is unclear if that violation is for 1 case or 3 cases. Stand by while we inquire. Defense, do you have any information for the court?
I'm looking at it right now, Your Honor, but it's not clear here either.
All right.
Your Honor, it looks like it's one case.
Can't hear you, sir.
Your Honor, it looks like it's one case. I'm looking at the Florida Department of Corrections offender network sheet. It says here that she has one case of grand theft auto out of Marion County in 23662.
That was my take and my read on it, but I didn't know if there was other information.
It looks like there was duplicate copies made because there's 3 copies of everything in my packet.
Your Honor, I was never on probation for grand theft auto, so I don't know what.
Okay, ma'am, I'm going to tell you not to talk without first talking to your lawyer, okay? If there's an issue with the original probation, that's going to have to be figured out in Marion County.
Apologies, grand theft, not grand theft auto.
Okay.
Your Honor, when I retrieve the paperwork, I am not the one that's responsible to make those copies.
I understand. I understand. That's why I'm asking. State, you have any other information?
No, Your Honor, I found the same 20 CF 3662 case.
All right.
From Marion County.
So you are here pursuant to a violation of your probation out of Marion County. Underlying charge was grand theft. There's only one, and I'm going to set your bond at 0, no bond for that case. You may be seated. Thank you. Bianca Blaze.
Your Honor, she's in outside court.
She's over here?
Yes, Your Honor,
She's been transported, they said.
in the courthouse.
She's in the courthouse.
Whose case is this?
Bianca Blaze?
Mm-hmm. Who's the assigned judge?
Judge Karsten, Your Honor.
All right.
I'm on the clerk website for this case. I don't see any court dates scheduled for today.
Deputy, find out if she's here. Thank you. She would not be outside. She'd be downstairs somewhere. Thank you. We will recall this case.
Your Honor, she is represented by Regional Conflict Counsel Brock Shields. I also don't see him, but.
Okay. She probably has other cases, so maybe those other cases are before Judge Young or Judge Nix.
Excuse me, Your Honor, they have no one downstairs.
No one. So they're not in a courtroom? There's no one?
They're not downstairs.
Can you find out if she was ever here? Sorry, another call. Or they might not have that information.
Downstairs might not, but I'll try.
I do know you're.
Transported 10 minutes ago, Your Honor,
Over or back?
to the courthouse 10 minutes ago. That's, okay.
All right, I'm gonna recall her. And meanwhile,
Your Honor, it states in the charging affidavit, if I'm not mistaken, the booking report states that she was incarcerated in Palm Beach County and was ready for pickup and the jail was contacted by the criminal felony manager to be brought for ICE. to Osceola
from
County.
Palm Beach County?
That's what it states here. It says Wednesday, August 10th, Palm Beach County Jail.
All right, we're gonna go back to her. Let's get everybody else processed. Charles Boykin. Good afternoon. You're here for failure to appear for a plea date certain. Judge Sanders Morency issued a bench warrant setting your bond at 0, no bond. Be seated.
Defendant has future court date. Public defender pretrial, October 4th, 8:15 a.m., courtroom 4A.
Brittany Hancock. You are here based upon a warrant for violation of your probation and/or community control. Judge Nix Walker set your bond at 0, no bond.
I'm gonna give you some.
Be seated. Patrick Johnson. Sir, you are here based on allegations of violation of your probation and/or community control. Your bond is set at 0, no bond. Maria del Carmen Noboa.
She refused to come, Your Honor.
I'm finding her refusal a waiver of her appearance today. We're going to proceed without her. Counsel has been appointed. She is charged with false reporting to law enforcement, tampering with evidence, and domestic stalking. Probable cause was previously set. Bond will remain at $500 on count 1, $1,000 on count 2, $2,500 on count 3. She is to have no contact with the alleged victim in this case. I believe they already have separate residences, possess no weapons or firearms. That is all. William Paschal. Okay, sir, you're here on a charge of aggravated battery on a pregnant person. Disregard, you're here for violation of probation in that case. The underlying case is aggravated battery upon a pregnant person. Judge Young set your bond at 0, no bond. Dion Roberts. Mr. Roberts, you're here because you failed to appear for a jury trial, and Judge Young issued a bench warrant and set your bond at 0, no bond.
Your Honor, this defendant has a future court date. Pre-trial, September 28th, 9 a.m., courtroom 5F. Jury trial, October 10th, 9 a.m., courtroom 5F.
Stacy Antinarella. Ma'am, you're here on one charge of battery, unlawful touching, or striking.
The defense has a probable cause challenge.
Go ahead.
The defendant and the victim have been married for 20 years. They were, during this incident, they were drinking alcohol and started arguing. Both parties understood the consequences of the altercation. It's unclear who was the primary aggressor, but there were scratches on the victim and bruises on the defendant. I don't believe there's probable cause for battery. It was more of a mutual combat, Your Honor.
State.
Your Honor, that is not an issue for initial appearance. We look at the charging document to find probable cause, an incredibly low standard.
The defense agrees that it is a very low standard, but I don't think that it's met.
I disagree, counsel. I think it's met. In the charging affidavit, so I do find probable cause. I have a note that the victim does want contact.
Your Honor, even though the victim wants contact, the state would request no contact at this time.
I'm not going to do that, counsel. I'm going to allow contact. So bond is set at $500 with PTR conditions. No hostile contact. No weapons or firearms. And I'm going to add as a condition, because it was definitely a factor in this case, no alcohol or illegal drugs.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Daniel Atkins. Sir, you're charged with 1 count of battery, unlawful touching or striking, domestic in nature. Has there been any contact with the alleged victim?
No, ma'am, she resides in.
She what? I need PTR to talk to me.
Yes, Your Honor. The number is no longer in service. We attempted to try to make contact with the victim. We were unsuccessful.
Okay. Well, as I indicated, I do find probable cause for the charge. Bond is set at $500. You're to have no contact with the victim, maintain separate residences.
Excuse me.
Yes.
The defense would request direct PTR in this case.
Doesn't qualify.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So $500, no contact with the victim, maintain separate residences, possess no weapons or firearms.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Your Honor, that was $500 with PTR?
No PTR, he doesn't qualify.
Doesn't qualify?
Robert Fisher?
Your Honor, the defense has a probable cause challenge.
Okay. Sir, you're charged with burglary to an occupied structure unarmed. Counsel, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. The reason Mr. Fisher was at the hotel was because he had a reservation. He was a little bit early, but he did have a reservation. He was traveling from out of state. And as we know, a hotel is open to the public. The victim actually brandished a knife and also shot at my client. So I don't believe there's probable cause for burglary in this case.
State?
Your Honor, I also had issues with the document in this case, so I'll leave it to the court.
As did the court, by the way. I do not find probable cause for the charge. Accordingly, I am going to release some ROR at this time. Thank you.
No PC, Your Honor?
No PC. Brendan Layton. Mr. Layton, you're here pursuant to 2 cases. Petty theft, second offense, and possession of a controlled substance and possession of a weapon or ammunition by a Florida convicted felon. I've reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find probable cause for the charges. For the petty theft, second offense, bond is, or I'm going to order your release under direct PTR conditions. For the possession of a controlled substance, also direct PTR for the possession of a weapon or ammunition by a Florida convicted felon. Bond is set at $2,000. Denard Louis Jean. All right, sir, you're charged with 1 count of battery, unlawful touching or striking, domestic in nature. I've reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find probable cause for the charge. PTR, what contact with the victim have you had, if any?
Your Honor, we've had no contact. We had no victim card for this defendant.
Okay. Bond is set at $500 with PTR conditions, no contact with the victim, maintain separate residences, do not possess weapons or firearms. Raymond Miller. Sir, you're charged with possession of cocaine, possession and/or use of drug paraphernalia, and resisting arrest without violence. I've reviewed the charging affidavit. I find probable cause for the charges. You are released under direct PTR conditions pursuant to the administrative order. Katina Pyle.
Defendant approaching, Your Honor.
Thank you. You are charged with possession of cocaine and possession and/or use of drug paraphernalia. I've reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find probable cause for the charge. You're released under direct PTR conditions pursuant to the administrative order. Jeremiah Shelton. Sir, you are charged with the following. Possession of counterfeit $10 bills and more notes, possession of a controlled substance without a prescription, and possession and/or use of drug paraphernalia. There's also a charge for driving while license suspended or revoked or equivalent status, your third subsequent violation. I have reviewed the charging affidavits. I do find probable cause for the charges. Bonds are set as follows. The possession of counterfeit bills and notes, $2,500. Possession of a controlled substance without a prescription, $2,500. Possession and/or use of drug paraphernalia, $500. I'm going to drop that one down to $100. And driving while license suspended or revoked, third subsequent violation, $2,500. You are also out on ROR in 22 CF 1326 for fraudulent use of credit cards. 22 CF 1327, burglary to an occupied dwelling, and 22 CF 1325, fraudulent use of and possession of credit cards and possession and receiving stolen credit cards. One of the conditions of your release was that you not pick up any new charges. You have done that. Accordingly, I am revoking the conditions of release in your 3 cases, setting your bond at 0, no bond until such time as you go before the presiding judge for a future bond hearing.
Your Honor, he also has a case out on ROR in 22 CF 1097 as well.
That one's not on my list, so I'm revoking that as well. Thank you. Terrell Taylor. Hold on. Is she brought over just for my case? Was she transported from the Orange County, Osceola County Jail? Unless they have a camera down there, then yes, I want her brought up.